Welcome to the Mighty Process Server Podcast, where the stakes are high and the stories are real. Do you have what it takes? On this podcast, you will hear from the process servers on the front line, serving American justice one door at a time. Buckle in and turn it up, because it's time to roll. Mighty Nation, welcome to another episode of the Mighty Process Server Podcast. Today, I'm joined by an amazing, awesome, what I would call a friend. We've been doing some mastermind meetings, and Ryan has come and brought lots of knowledge inside of our community. Ryan Norris, he owns a process serving agency out of San Diego, specializes in judgment enforcement. Been in business since 2002, and they are excited to announce that they're starting private investigation and bail bonds underwriting. What's going on, Ryan?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
Hey, you know what? I'm just enjoying this day here in New Mexico. It is getting very cold, so I'm like, it's different. I'm a beachy Floridian, so this cold has got kind of getting to me, but I'm doing good. Doing good.
Oh, that's great.
So listen, I you have so much knowledge to share, and I know you're a busy guy. So, first of all, just like, what made you choose process serving?
Well, it started out with one of my former business partner, and I've always done judgment enforcement since 2002, and I've always done a mixed bag of process serving in Nevada. During all that time, while they do have a strict requirement for licensing, I didn't exactly do it, as a business. I just did it as supplement to my judgment enforcement. For instance, if I'm taking care of a specific subpoena, I just did it, and I wasn't doing it on behalf of a business. Just did it on behalf of myself, on technically like a third party, like a notification. So that was the extent of my experience in process serving in Nevada. And then my business partner decided to, hey, let's start a process serving business. So he basically put the bill to get it all started, get the website up and running, get the serve manager brought on board. He worked on it, and I was living in San Diego at the time, and he lived up in Riverside. So when he get the job in San Diego, I take care of that. And when he get the job in LA Riverside, he took care of that. And I went to get my process serving card and a few other things, and he decided to leave and basically just hung it up. So I bought him out, and I said, well, I guess I got a process serving business. I'm gonna go ahead and keep it going, and it just grew from there.
What's funny is I feel like a lot of the best opportunities I've had in this business have been like that, where it's like you're just in the business, and then some opportunity comes along to either invest in a software, or like I did private investigation surveillance for a while through another PI company, and so I got to experience that, and you just try little things and see what works for you. I love that. So in all of your experience, we're gonna go into some great stuff as well, but what is like that worst experience you've had working in this industry?
Well, I did. I had another server during the time when I got one particular client that was giving me anywhere between 150 to 900 jobs a month. I couldn't do it by myself, so I've always had other process serving partners in San Diego that worked with me. And we went to this location on Lakeside. It was kind of what we didn't know. It was an illegal growth farm. And we showed up, and we can see a marijuana field, probably a good several acres. I'm not exact science on what the size of this property is, but it was pretty big. So it was just a post. We were just doing a 3-day notice to pay or quit. And so in the process of posting the documents on the door, well, this guy come out, and he was not happy that we were there. He basically sicked his dog on us. We fend off the dog, and once we got the dog fended off, we see, yeah, he was heading toward the vehicle, and then we didn't want to take any chances. We got the heck out of there. We did not want to stick
Right.
around if you find out if he was going to go get a gun or
Yeah.
anything like that. We got out of there. We did call the sheriff department, and from what I understand, they did make an arrest.
Mm.
I guess when they found out a little bit more about the situation. I
I
didn't
get
really follow up on that, but that was a pretty harrowing experience.
I got to tell you, in this industry, when you first start, I don't know for you, Ryan, if you've experienced this, but when I first started, it's like the hero syndrome. It's like I'm going to jump a fence. I'm going to drive through the woods, where there's supposedly a cabin up here somewhere, like, to
Right.
serve a guy and, or waiting or sitting in the courtroom to try to identify what the person looks like and then serving them as he's walking out of his case, even though I know they're going to get upset at me serving him in court. You do a lot of things when you first start, and then you realize, what, this is not worth my safety. Whether the thing in the woods where the guy's a pot farmer and is known to have ARs with a whole bunch of guys standing around with them and stuff. You learn, and then you learn actually that where the money's at is actually in the volume, and in doing, not necessarily a cheaper rate, but just the volume, and get the thing served. Your average Joe who works a 9 to 5, you're going to serve him in the evening. How many of those can you get? And that's how your business can really scale. Of course, you want to still offer the additional service, but for a fee, right? And then
Of course.
at that point, you can hire a security guard to go with you or something, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I love that story. What do you want Mighty Nation to take from your story?
Well, anybody can. Basically, it's just like how your motto, your outlook. You got the strength to do this. Your basically your logo where you do the flex. Basically, what I want Mighty, especially everybody else out there, is just keep doing the good work, keep doing the hard work. I'm not saying working hard. Everybody works hard, but a lot of people don't do the hard work.
Yeah.
Basically get yourself out there, market yourself, be the mighty process server.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, that's a great story. Get out of there as soon as you see there's an issue, and as soon as you know there might be an issue. I've had a similar situation where a guy wouldn't let me go back to the car after serving him, but he wasn't saying anything. He was just being really weird, getting between me and the car. He's a big guy, and I took out my phone and started recording him. And I said, okay, well, let me just record this, make sure everyone knows what's actually happening here. And I backed off away from me. He kept coming up to me. And then he goes, you know what? You got that? Okay, you got that phone? I got something too. Let me go in my trailer. I was not waiting around to see what he was going to come out with. I was gone in the car and gone. And I'm pretty sure he had a gun, because when I looked in the rearview mirror as I was going down the trailer park where I served him, I saw him and he had his hand in his pocket, hiding whatever he had in his hand. And it's not worth your life. So I love that. I love that. Be cautious. We're not trying to scare people out of the industry. Most people are good. I've learned that. I used to be very skeptical, and I'm still very cautious when it comes to going to the door, and my opinions about my family, and not knowing who other people are, assuming the worst, right? Or assuming the best, but preparing for the worst, I should say. And if you do that, you'll be okay. You'll do
Absolutely.
that. Good. So, with that experience, what is your greatest experience? Because I know as business owners, as process servers, all the negative experience can get a little clouding the good experiences. But what is the greatest experience you've had working in this industry?
Well, it was I actually kind of mentioned it already. Is when I had the one client that gave me the volume job. I mean, it was September 2022, and they initially started off with 150 jobs per month, and I diligently worked on it, but it wasn't even that long after. I think it was, I mentioned September 2022. It was like October. They've already pumped about 400 jobs, and then it got as high as 876. I looked it up, and that was 2 consistent months, 876 jobs back to back. And I had about 7 process server. Now, of course, the time is moving on, and it's starting to get a little slow. And then we just got to find another route, get more job. But that was my best experience in this industry. And I was able to get that accomplish.
That is awesome. Yeah. The feeling of having like a volume that your business like that check mark of, you know what, this is a successful business. That I have
Exactly.
a successful business. That's a really cool the first time I remember actually feeling that was serving the I've told this story a few times, but when I got the collection client and they just gave me just a huge stack with a $15,000 check on it. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this isn't real. Like this can't be real. But and then the hardest thing was going back to the office and doing data entry for all those things. And so as a business owner, I learned, okay, I need to have them do the data entry. So I love
Exactly.
your story. What I take from that is like, you know what, just put in the work. What do you want Mighty Nation to take from that story? Do you feel like how did you get to those 800? Obviously someone who's just starting isn't just going to be able to take on that many jobs or probably going to get a contract like that.
Well, for the Mighty Nation, the Mighty process servers, and for any process server for that matter, is to keep marketing yourself. Don't be afraid to go out there. You got to get off your butt and go knock on some doors. Call people, join networks such as Mighty Process Server. Network with other servers. In fact, I just had probably a good hour conversation with a process server out of Louisiana, and I'm not 100% sure if he's part of a Mighty Process Server, but he is on other sites, and he was just asking me about some of my success, and I don't have a problem talking to him. I talked to several members here on the Mighty Process Server, and just keep networking. Don't give up. That's the worst thing you can do is give up, because once you give up, you're done.
Yeah.
That's the definition of failure. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to fail. Learn from it. The true failure, there's a difference between failing and failure. The true failure is giving up.
Yeah. You quit. Fail forward. Well, Ryan, I've heard a few people that have told me that you've helped them. And there's other people inside of Mighty Process Server who have told me, that other people have helped them too. And I remember those things because to me it provides value to the industry, but also to our community. What would you say to those people who aren't inside of the Mighty Process Server community? And keep in mind, there's at least 4,000, roughly 4,000 people on Facebook, so we know they have computers. This is not just the guys in the woods that don't have a computer that haven't joined. There's actually people who have a computer who are online, who are process servers, who are inside these Facebook groups who still haven't joined our free community Mighty Process Server. What would you say to those folks?
Oh, you said it best at the right at the end. It's free. Why not? I mean, it's a great way to network. It's a great way to connect with other people, and you never know. You're going to run across a job that might go to, say, to Tehachapi, and then we have a prominent member there. And I'm going to go do a shout out, Brad Stanford.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we talked quite a bit on occasion. And he always asking a question. I have zero problem answering. I would answer a question for pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
It's just not going to take anything away from me.
Yeah. This industry is very helpful if you understand what it is you're trying to do. It's a constitutionally protected right of due process. That's our job, is to deliver legal documents.
Mm-hmm.
There are cases I've experienced with ex-wives where you're getting served something that was falsified in court and you're trying to evade it. So I've actually experienced it on both sides where I know what we do is so important, but I also understand why they don't want it.
Right, of
And
course.
so you just do your best to get the job done. So kind of my last question here, I just wanted to really highlight you as the professional here, Ryan. What are you working on, or what has you most fired up right now?
Well, right now I'm basically consolidating my website. As you already know, that I'm bringing in new avenues of business, and that's really just to complement each other. The bail underwriting doesn't exactly complement with the service of process. It's just something that one of my other associate wanted to start, and it has a pretty decent rewards to it. But the biggest thing I'm working on is consolidating, and I'm working on marketing. I've even got a sponsorship to Google listing right now, and I'm excited to see where that's going to turn out. And so I'm on the sponsor page for Google, and I guess I might have got a couple of jobs from it. And I just need to revamp all my forms and just basically ask, "Hey, where'd you hear about us?" Because none of my form asks that. And often when somebody calls me, I'll ask them. So I'm pretty excited about that to see where we can go with that.
Well, I would tell you, there's a lot of people who would love to trade places with me or you, and be able to actually have a process serving company that gives you the financial freedom that you need to be in this industry long term. I will say that if it's I always tell people, like, because I have a lot of real estate folks that are in my network, and a lot of people try to jump into real estate right away, and I'm like, you need some money. Like, you can't be broke and buy a
Right.
house. No matter who you listen to, zero down. True, you can buy a house zero down, but you probably won't if you ain't got no money and you ain't got and
Exactly.
yeah, you need something. And process serving pays you a premium for dropping off pieces of paper in a specific manner for your state. You got to be trained. But great, Ryan. So we'll go ahead and close it out here. Is there anything else? What is your parting piece of advice for those folks that are just getting started, or maybe those who are struggling to get more business?
Just don't give up. Just keep moving along. Keep looking for new jobs. At the beginning, go ahead and start with those big box company like ABC Legal or Prove Served. I guess that's their name now. They changed it a couple times, I think. Let's see. And there's quite a few of them out there. 360 Legal, I suppose. Just go ahead and start doing the smaller one. Get the experience in. Learn the job. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The worst question you can ask is the one not asked. So we have several organizations, like including yours, and then we have CalsPro, NAPS, and that's one thing I like about going to those events is that you network with other process servers or process serving company, and perhaps even paralegal companies.
Yeah, you that's great. That's great advice, and I appreciate you making the time, Ryan, today to come and chat it up. And I wanted to spotlight you in the community. You're somebody that's a go giver, somebody who's always given your knowledge and participating in our Zoom meetings and stuff like that. And we're getting ready to launch those again next month, which I'm pretty excited about. With the Be the Backup training.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready to release a bunch of the marketing videos inside the community. I'm doing like mini videos, like 2-3 minute videos explaining specific things. But the Be the Backup training, I think, is going to be the greatest opportunity for people to grow their business. And I'm gonna help those who are engaged, who want to show up to the Zoom meetings, and I know you do that as well. So I appreciate you for that. All right, let's bring on anybody inside the community. One of the things I like to do is Mighty Process Server community question. So at the end of every episode, I'll bring people on. You can ask me a question, you can ask my guest a question, or just a question in general, and we can have a conversation about it. So it looks like we have one of our members in here that we needs no introduction. Mr. Jeff, how are you doing, sir?
Good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hope everybody's doing well. Hey, Ryan.
Yes. Doing great. Yeah, Jeff and Ryan both are very experienced members in the community. Jeff, what's your question for today, or feedback?
Well, feedback, I made some notes in reference to something Ryan brought up in the beginning in reference to safety and so forth, and you touched on it. Whether it's $75 or $125 or whatever, that service isn't worth you not being able to go home at nighttime.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you keep that in mind. And I do like the idea, since I do have a security company, that if I get into a situation, I don't mind bringing along my son or somebody else who wears a sidearm going to the door, because that definitely affects people's minds when you do that. I just wanted to bring that up from the beginning of what you all were talking about.
Great feedback.
And the other thing, if I may, is that something we started 2 weeks ago, and we put this on LinkedIn, and we spoke to a legal aid society here, was we're actually started to offer free service of process for seniors in our local city, Roanoke City, Virginia. And the Legal Aid Society was really excited and blown away by that. So that's going to be for seniors that are 65 and over only, plaintiffs, that we're going to serve the papers for them for free.
Very cool. Very
This,
cool.
we're gonna do that to help get our name out there for my son, so he can, when he takes over the business officially and full time, that he'll have more to work with.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Yeah, giving veterans, that's another thing I've always done, is giving veterans a big discount. 50% or free, depending on this, how long it's going to take me, right? So good stuff. Good stuff. Any questions?
Yeah, one very important one. You need to please get some East Coast things going on into this group.
Sounds like a comment.
Well, it's just that we I'm watching and I'm listening and I'm learning, but Jessica hears it every day. Is that, in the Mighty website directory, I actually am putting the seal on a LinkedIn ad. But anyway, more importantly, this East Coast has to blow up, or something has to happen out here. I'm all alone.
You feel all alone. Well, it's actually not that you're alone. It's that you're dominating the East Coast. You are the East Coast, Jeff. What's funny about that is I actually know most of the people I know are in Florida. It's just kind of funny. We're in a growing stage when it comes to the directory, and so I'm excited to see once they start coming in. But like I said, has anyone shared the YouTube video of this interview? That's where it starts. That's where people learn about it. They learn about the community. And since we're talking about it, Jeff, what do you say to those 1,600 people inside a Process Server Nation, or in any of the other groups that haven't joined us yet?
Get a website. It's going to make a difference in your business.
A website. Yes, I do have websites. We have a website company. But what about the community? Shouldn't they join the free community?
Yes, I've got to be politically correct here. They really need to do it. They can't lose. They can only gain. It's a no-brainer. And the more in the network, the better. And it doesn't cost them anything. So yeah, they'd be silly not to, would be the best way to put it. It's not the greatest day, so I'm trying to be very polite and professional.
Well, you know what, Jeff, you always are, and you're a great resource to the community. 30 plus years in the business, getting ready to turn your business over to your son Mark, and it's just a really cool thing. Like, anybody who wants to learn process serving, delivery of legal documents to another person, and get paid for it. A lot of people think you have to be, a PI or certified. You don't. You do need to go get look up your local laws. I can't say for every state, right? Because this is a nationwide podcast. You got to go do your research. But in most places, it's not that difficult to become a process server. Not at all. Even compared to a notary. A notary is pretty easy to get. And I would say process serving is easier to get in most places. Most places.
Yeah, Virginia is probably one of the easiest, since there's no registration, no regulators, and so forth. You just have to be 18 and not a party to the case.
And breathing.
Right.
and then you get the opportunity to go make, like when I got served $50. I got served, and the guy, that's my story. I've told a million times, but the guy served me divorce papers, and I was like, how much did you get paid to drive out here in the country and serve me, 20 minutes out of town? He goes, $50. And at the time I was delivering prescriptions, and, and I was getting $2 or $3 a delivery. And I was like, $50. I was like, if I do even just 10 papers a day, which doesn't seem like a lot, like that's a more than enough money every day to survive. And it ended up being 20, 30, 40 papers, at least attempted per day, and built a really good business out of it. I know you guys have as well. So for those people who have those limiting beliefs that think there's no way, you can do it. You can do it. Lockjaw Legal says, how did you get more contracts? Ryan, do you want to answer that one first?
Sure, I can touch on that one. Okay, so It's just basically by reaching out to law firms. I mean, your best point of contact, in my opinion, unless you're talking to a solo petitioner, like with an attorney, and they have a specific need, you can go and get more contracts that way. For the larger law firm, you're going to go through likely either the office manager or the legal assistant. It depends on how big the law firm is, and also being keep your eye on your email because you're going to get reached out, and it's some pans out, some don't. Like I'm a preferred agency for the Servit platform here in Southern California. Well, one of the preferred agencies. I'm pretty sure there's more than one, and there's not a specific contract in mind, but there is basically like a guideline. And so it's basically at will. I can leave anytime. They can, terminate me at any time. However, we do a good enough job, we stay on. And I have several law firms, probably, gosh, right now, the last count was around 17. And and it's a daily thing that they feed me job through the Service platform. They're basically using Clio, Time Matter. There's a bunch of them I can name. And they don't even have to leave their practice. They can just type it in there. They got a new case, and then once I need to serve, they just click on. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but they can click on the serve it button, and then it'll get sent to me or their preferred process server. You don't have to be technically part of the server platform to get it. We're just listed as a preferred agency. Any process server can join. So if you already have a law firm, they will if they want you on it, they will get you a sign up page where you can receive a job that way. But if you market yourself like that, that's how you get more contracts.
Yeah, love that. Love that. How about you, Jeff?
In reference to the contracts,
Yeah.
Paralegals, you just have to reach out to the paralegals in my area. They're the ones that do all the decision making.
Yeah. In my experience, if you're talking about just getting more customers to send you stuff, getting more clients, we talk about be the backup training, basically getting known. That's your biggest problem, is not being known. Like Brian was saying, like reaching out to folks and being a part of like a technology system where you're partners with folks is a good way to get started with that. But when it comes to contracts, like actual child support contracts or maybe an agreement with collection agencies, is building relationships with folks who facilitate that stuff. Like once I found out the specific woman who does the public purchase stuff for a specific county, I'm calling asking for her. Nicole, Yuba City, Yuba County, California. I'm calling Nicole. I'm saying, hey, is is it too late to submit, a request, um, for this job, and basically you just put that together, and we're going to do a whole training on that pretty soon, probably sometime this next year. Actually, I want to dedicate a whole month to it, how to actually do an RFQ, be able to actually put together a package and how to actually present it. Because sometimes if you're in the top three, that's the goal, is to be one of the top three that get considered for a specific contract. You might have to go present, and one I had to go present, or two I had to go present, and one they just gave me the contract, right? Or they gave the contract to somebody else. The guy failed within a month, and then they gave it to me. So it just depends on what it is. But those child support contracts can give you 20, 30 jobs, every single day, where it's like you need a whole nother person to serve those papers because it's 45 minutes from your house, right? So it just depends. I like the question. But then there's some contracts like in Los Angeles where they want you to not charge for bad addresses. How are you supposed to do that? Unless you're the owner, and you just don't want to get paid for the bad addresses. That's crazy to me. I know a couple guys that have been on those who just decided to stop bidding on them, and so they ended up being given to other people for like $20 an attempt, or whatever, and sewer service, I'm sure. Who knows? So great question. Appreciate it. Love it. Appreciate you guys online on YouTube liking and sharing. The best way to do it to spread the word is to share the YouTube videos inside the groups, and then make your own comment about what you took away from the video. you know. Ryan, I appreciate you. Jeff, thank you for being a contributor today. Appreciate you too, buddy.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thank you very much.
Of course. So Ryan, send us off. How can everybody reach out to you? I know that you're in business there in San Diego, the beautiful San Diego. How can everybody reach out to you and send you work or ask you questions?
Well, they can call me at any time. My phone number at the office. I can give my phone number, right?
Of course.
Yeah, my phone number is 619-867-0228. I am in the middle of revamping my website. Right now, it's named HubSpot.ranworks.com, but it will probably in about a month or so, it's going to be back to being www.ranworks.com. It's just I don't want to lose one website without getting the other one fully up and running.
Right.
And I don't want to go get another domain name if I'm not going to plan on keeping it.
Yeah.
So that's basically the way I did it. But you can go to hubspot.ranworks.com. That'll go to the service of process, and it has a chat function on there. So I'm easy to reach there. LinkedIn, Facebook, Messenger. I'm here on the school account. I can be reached that way. It doesn't on the school account. I know it doesn't exactly give me a notification somebody sent me a chat. So when I log in, I see a couple people chat with me. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I'll have to keep a better eye on that.
Inside of the school platform, you have to, just like all the other apps, you have to allow notifications.
Yeah.
I don't even allow notifications. This is why sometimes I don't get back to people right away, but I do check it throughout the day. But yeah, you can turn on notifications on your phone and it'll start to send you a thing. But school is a platform that, for those that don't know, it's a platform that's just like kind of like Facebook or one of these others, but it's specifically for communities. And so I've decided to build the Mighty Process Server community on the school platform because it's just so easy. It costs me $100 a month, and I'm able to facilitate all of our trainings, our community, our chat, our leaderboards. And I'm pretty excited to see too our leaderboards. People are really fighting for that top spot. I think they've gotten this. There's more points than any other month. I think all the other months combined, just this month, people trying to get that Amazon prize pack. I'm giving away a bunch of stuff. We won't mention it here because it's a podcast. But listen, if you guys are listening to the podcast, go. You can see it on YouTube. You can watch the video version on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, you can listen to it on the podcast. It has been made known to me by many process servers that when you're driving in the car, you don't have premium on YouTube, which you should have, but you don't have it. So the best way is to just listen on the podcast platform. So if you're doing that, leave us a review on the podcast. Appreciate that. And of course, as always, appreciate you, Ryan, as a guest. Go out there, you guys, be safe, take action, and as always, live mighty. Let's get the guns, Ryan. Yes. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.